Elevation. Cool and Dre. Big blunts, dope boys wanna smoke with me. Now we ride double M's through the whole city. Niggas talking down, but they always feel me. A 9-figure nigga, all I wanna talk is business. I seen a big mouth get a closed casket. Self-made, took over the whole racket. A kilo after kilo, see who moved them.
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the Underground, Goofy Investing, where we talk about investing in the stock market. Small channel, big value, okay? This channel there to help people try to understand how this all works and how to be an investor, all right? Subscribers requests, Joby Aviation, ticker symbol JOBY. We're going to be taking a look at this equity. 3.9 billion market cap. Short float is 9.81. Stock is trading at $5.21. This is a company that is headquartered in Santa Cruz, California. Vertically integrated air mobility company. Electrical vertical takeoff and landing aircrafts, right? So this is going to be a play on electrification of aircrafts, all right? I have reviewed their earnings. I've taken a look at presentations, did the research on this company. Let's take a look at financials, all right? 1.1 million dollars in trailing 12-month revenue, with a market cap of 3.9 billion. Due to these ratios, technically they are post-revenue. Arguably, they're still pre-revenue. Okay, doesn't necessarily mean bad company to invest in. Let's look at diluted weighted average shares outstanding. They have 6x since 2020, which from what I understand is their initial IPO. Let's go here. Yeah, like November 2020. So what do I take from this company? All right. These aircrafts they have pivot propeller technology, and they're electrified. So they can take off like a helicopter, and in mid-air, they can pivot propellers to turn into an airplane. So is it an airplane? Is it a helicopter? Arguably, it's both, all right? And that's part of the technological innovation. Now, one thing that I take here with this company is this is pretty risky stuff. You know me, if you've been following my channel, you know I'm an investor that likes to take risks. This company is a whole nother animal. So if you're investing in this type of company, know that, be cognizant that this is one of those companies where investor dollars can go to zero. This is a company, due to their pre-revenue, slight post-revenue status, and their cash burn, they have to continually be raising equity through investor channels. We'll go to the little quick sniff on a balance sheet. 709 million of cash and 31 million of total debt. Enterprise value is 3.22 billion. The enterprise value is the cash subtracted by their market cap, or their debt plus the market cap, whatever is net debt or net cash on the status. That doesn't necessarily mean too much now, because this cash is going to be used as a burn rate because of their lack of profitability. We'll go to their cash flow statement. They've been burning 2022, they burned $250 million. 2023, they burned $500 million. Trailing, they've burned 476 million. So the runway, all right? So this is an investment that has to depend on investor capital through different stages. I view this more as a venture capital type of investment. They probably IPO'd to try to get more access to corporate entities that are public, that are more liquid in cash, that could invest in this. And from the likes of it, they've accomplished part of that. All right, Toyota is investing 500 million into the Joby aviation company, 2 equal tranches. So probably $250 million and then another $250 million, depending on what different status or operational stages that the company has reached. This is a highly regulated environment space, which means that if they're trying to launch aircrafts with new technological innovation, they have to get through the FAA, which is the governmental body, at least in the United States, that handles aircraft, so safety and so forth. You got to get through all those regulations. The customer base on this actual company, from what I understand, is going to start with the rich consumer to do ride share up to about 60 miles in highly populated rich areas. Dubai, if you will. According to their earnings call, they're going to be launching operations in sale to get sales in Dubai first at the end of 2025. And analysts asked what are the odds that could be postponed, and I assess the CEO didn't show too much confidence. Just based on the tempo, the CEO did show too much confidence. I think that this is a stock or an investment where you need to be ready to handle letdowns, and this is going to be rough. To the coach himself, these are powerful lessons. All right, I think they're going to have to raise, probably due to the phase of where they're at, as far as profitability and growth runway. I assess this is a company that needs to raise another $10 billion before they reach profitability. Maybe 15 billion, who knows? These actual profitability metrics is they have a gross profit of 77 or 78% showing. That doesn't really mean too much because your gross profits, because they're so pretty much basically post revenue, or at the early stages of post revenue. So this profitability metrics may be skewed a little bit, and these numbers and margins are not going to come in. The earnings call that I dissected, they do not want to give anything away as far as margins and operational margin costs and OPEX. This is going to be a heavy OPEX type of business model, where I believe that this negative operating income should continue to increase as they're closer to manufacturing. If their intent is to be vertically integrated, that is. It takes several years to build these factories and business model out. And, the end result, I think, and I wonder, will they, they'll do ride sharing with these aircrafts. Do they intend to sell these aircrafts and license the pilot to where the pilot does the ride share, takes the risk, and the company gets a percentage of revenue? That might be something to consider, because if you're essentially selling someone a product and selling someone a job. All right. And when it comes to profitability metrics, and that's a pretty big win for a company to be able to do that. That's something that might be in the business model. I'm not sure. I need to do more research on the company. From what I understand so far, they haven't really elaborated on how this is all going to work. Right now, at this time, investors are probably just investing in the intellectual property of electrification of aircrafts. Let's talk about the runway, all right? So market cap is 3.9 billion. If they're selling to the ultra rich this service and or maybe product, rich people have a lot of money. Now, does that necessarily mean a rich person is going to use this product or service? I mean, a lot of these rich people, they do timeshares, and what they do is they pool their money into one helicopter, and they book their own schedules into their main scheduling pool for that one helicopter that they use, just to save some money on things. Could this disrupt that market? Well, I don't know. If the cost of the ride share of those rich people into that one helicopter is less than the actual initial one-time share rides of Joby's business model, I mean, Joby could have issues there when they're launching and trying to get sales and so forth. I guess the benefit of what rich people have to, what rich people can do is they can experience the latest and greatest in technological innovations, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're uncognizant of costs and so forth. I mean, if they're ride sharing, as far as if they're pulling money into a timeshare, into a helicopter, there is some infrastructure of ownership that they can write off on taxes, as averse to doing individual ride shares with this type of business model. All right. um, Very fascinating. This is a company that I'm going to actually start following along and doing way more research and posting more videos as they go along. As an investment, the closest thing that I have to this on a venture capital scale is probably Planet 13, where they're still relying on to build equity or to raise capital. Planet 13's almost there. But this company is nowhere near profitability. If we go to the earnings estimates, they're not scheduled to profitability till 2030. Okay. And these numbers can be highly skewed depending on operational execution. Um, the launch into Dubai in late next year, Q4 of 2025. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets delayed into maybe Q2 of 2026, depending on regulation and so forth, and where they stand with their manufacturing launch. From what I understand, they only have a few aircrafts. They have couple prototypes, and they still have to build out all that infrastructure as well. Um, as an investor investing in Joby, this Toyota investment symbolizes overhead protection to the shareholders' liquidity. So you have a big backer such as Toyota helping them, partnering with them, and bankrolling them is a big deal. So there's a finite amount of security that provides that helps investors sleep well at night. Um, so that should pad some of the valuation. So here's the difficult part when I see this. At a $3.9 billion market cap, you have to assess the intellectual property value, the total addressable market, and lack of financials. You have to give the story a valuation, all right? And that's what some of the really highly skilled growth investors do. Um, and here's a thing too to consider: is this company at the phase where they deserve the liquidity and market cap that they're commanding right now, or do they have much more to prove? I don't think that there's not a lot of operational proof of efficiencies within the company yet, because there's lack of sales. So operationally speaking, it's a gamble. All right, there's no historicals on management performance and operations and so forth. Are they operating on a scale to try to get licenses and certificates and get regulators on board? Sure. But when it comes to actually launching the company and getting sales is a whole nother ball game, which could probably be some rough feathers come and rough times coming ahead for the investor base of Joby. Um, this is one of those speculative stocks. I hate to say that word, but it is. This stock can get cut real quick in half. Company can go bankrupt if they can't raise more investor capital. It looks like they're doing a good job, and I think that when I assess the earnings as well, or the earnings call, the management has to be very careful what they say, because they're in that phase of they're constantly trying to raise more capital in different, as far as I'm concerned, like as far as what I'm seeing, I think Joby maybe ahead of the next seed round than they should be, which means that, do they deserve the capital equity? Probably not yet, even though they're getting it. And it's yet to see. They got that runway. They're going to have to. The analysts asked Joby management what are some stipulations tied to the second tranche of investment from Toyota, and the management did not want to elaborate on that. So you're kind of in the dark. Me personally, I'd like to see more into the business model, as far as where are they at on manufacturing, how much does it cost to build one airplane. Is the intent to get this scale down to economies of scale to increase TAM for the market, and so forth. That's my take on this company. If you're finding value, consider subscribing. Check out my Patreon. All right, $5 a month. You get access to the hidden gem collection, more direct access to me. There's instructional spreadsheets, all different types of stuff on there. You can be with a community of like-minded investors. I'm going to be doing way more research into this equity. I think that this might be something. Here's the good thing about this investment. If they execute properly, this is going to be an easy 10x from here. I mean, this thing can aeronautical advancement technology companies can run pretty big. They can go to, this thing can be a $30 billion company, and command a high SaaS or high multiple, if you will, due to disrupting that infrastructure. But it's a highly regulated space, and there is some political stuff that needs to be done there too. So there's risks associated with that. But with that being said, if you have any questions, hit me up down below. Comment on the video, subscribe. With that being said, until the next time, take it easy.